Amenhotep III claimed he killed more than 100 lions with his own bow, and this was just his first 10 years as king. It sounds impossible, almost like a tall tale, but the numbers are carved into official inscriptions. So this isn't some tavern gossip. Some even push the count to 110. So, was the pharaoh really a one-man lion apocalypse? Or was it royal spin? That's the question that starts our story. Amenhotep III took the throne as a boy. Likely between the age of 6 and 12, he grew into a strong young ruler. By his teens, he had something to prove. Unlike his grandfather, Thutmose III, his reign was mostly peaceful. Just one early campaign. So, with little war to fight, he hunted. For a king, after all, the hunt was sport, danger, and a public display of courage. So he went for lions, the top of the food chain. To Egyptians, they were both predators and symbols of power. Killing one meant bravery and triumph. Ancient art shows how dangerous it was. One sketch even shows a pharaoh spearing a charging lion while soldiers and dogs backed him up. So, Amenhotep's hunts were likely just as staged, with beaters driving lions forward, and soldiers and helpers standing ready. But the Scarabs stress that the king himself shot with his own arrows. The glory had to be his. This was sport turned into spectacle. Each kill was both thrill and story. By year 10 of his reign, his tally stood at 102 lions. Maybe exact, maybe inflated. But the claim was written down. Archaeologists have found more than 100 lion hunt scarabs across Egypt and beyond. Blue-green beetles carrying nearly identical texts. But even if we doubt the number, one thing is certain. Amenhotep wanted everyone to know. Long before news media, Amenhotep III used scarabs as propaganda. And we're not talking about the small kind people wore as charms. No, these were big, about 9 or 10 centimeters long. Think of them as stone press releases. Over 200 survive, spread from modern-day Syria to Sudan. They carried news of his reign, like a bull hunt, a lake dug for queen tie, royal marriages, and most often, lion hunts. The lion hunt scarabs were the most common. So far, more than 120 have been found. Each begins with his throne names and titles, with half the text being just formal introduction. They mention his wife, Tia. Then they state the record, the number of lions brought by His Majesty from his own shooting, beginning from year 1 and ending in year 10. Fierce lions, 102. That's basically a decade of hunting reduced to one sentence. Nevertheless, the purpose was clear. Amenhotep was building his image. By showing himself as a lion slayer, he told Egyptians and foreign rulers alike, "I am brave, I am strong." One scholar called it his way of telling the world exactly that. He managed his brand well. Each scarab sent to a governor or ally was like a royal newsletter. Another Egyptologist once called them ancient newspapers. So, with no wars to brag about, Amenhotep bragged about hunts. Again. For a king, killing lions was a stand-in for fighting battles. Defeating the king of beasts meant he could defeat men. At the same time, in Egyptian thought, hunting lions meant conquering chaos. It was as good as winning on a battlefield, and his scribes made sure no one missed the message. The scarabs themselves were striking, big, shiny, blue-green, often pierced to be worn or displayed. They were conversation starters, reminders of Pharaoh's feats. Picture an official in a far-off province, reading one out loud, "Behold, His Majesty Amenhotep, dazzling son of Egypt, has slain 100 lions with his own hand." Overblown? Probably. But that was the point. The claim stuck. And when scarabs were first discovered in the 1800s, experts dismissed them as fakes. The number just seemed too much. It wasn't until the year 1887 that Flinders Petrie proved them real. Amenhotep's assertion was so bold that even modern scholars had trouble believing it. Now, why lions? In Egyptian royal thought, lions had a double meaning. They showed the king's own ferocity and the chaos he had to control. Pharaohs compared themselves to lions in battle, strong, fast, dominant. And so, Amenhotep III leaned on that image. A stela from Nubia in year 5 calls him a fierce-eyed lion after crushing a revolt. And a statue base in the Louvre names him Lion of Rulers. Royal seals even show him as a lion pouncing on enemies. He liked the title. But real lions also meant danger beyond the Nile. They prowled deserts and borderlands like foreign raiders, unpredictable, threatening, and tied to Isfet, aka chaos. And since it was the pharaoh's duty to uphold Ma'at, or order, he had to subdue such forces. Usually that meant leading armies, and sometimes it meant killing lions. And so his hunts became cosmic battles. Each lion downed was proof that order beat chaos. One scholar put it simply, the king's success showed divine rule defeating disorder. Egyptian art made the message clear. Sometimes the king was the lion, clawing enemies under his paws. Other times, he killed the lion, showing mastery over all. And this wasn't a contradiction. Both images reinforced his power. He could be lion and lion slayer at once. Religion added even more weight. You see, the sun god had ties to lions. The deity Eka was shown as twin lions guarding the horizon. And lioness goddesses mattered most in the 18th dynasty. Sekhmet stood out, fierce, plague-bringing, but also protective. So, Amenhotep honored her with hundreds of statues in Thebes. So, even as he killed lions, he worshipped the lioness goddess. To us, it may look awkward, but to them, it was logical. Sekhmet was divine. Lions were not. Therefore, by hunting them, Amenhotep showed he could tame her destructive side. Let's face the number. 102 lions in 10 years. That's about one lion every 5 weeks. The scarabs confirm it as the official story. One of the scarab inscriptions reads, "No lion is a match for Nebmatre Amenhotep III, the mighty." But historians still debate whether to take it literally. Lions still lived in Egypt and Nubia in the 14th century BC, which was fewer than before, but they were still out there. They prowled marshes and deserts. Nobles could hunt them or import captives for staged kills. Amenhotep's hunters likely supplied him. They drove lions in from the wild, or kept some ready for release. His bull hunt scarab shows how organized it could be. 96 bulls corralled in a fenced pen, shot one after another. Lion hunts probably worked the same way. Scouts tracked prides. Soldiers surrounded them. Maybe bait lured them out. And if you recall the inscription from earlier, it even says lions were brought by His Majesty in his own shooting. So in other words, served up for him to strike. But that doesn't mean it was safe. One lion was deadly enough, but it does suggest the hunts were staged for success. Still, could the total still be real? At the extreme, yes. If Amenhotep staged big hunts once or twice a year and killed several each time, the math works. The number might also be symbolic. Ancient rulers loved round figures. I killed 100 enemies could just mean I crushed them. So here, 100 lions meant a lot. Add 2 or maybe 10 to make it sound precise. But whether it was literal or metaphorical, no one questioned it. An Egyptian reader saw glory either way. And then there's the impact on lions. We don't have surveys, but Amenhotep's hunts must have thinned the herds. For these were Barbary and Nubian lions, both of which are now extinct. Habitat loss and later hunting finished the job, but Amenhotep certainly didn't help. Ironically, he may have been too good at it. 1,000 years later, in Greco-Roman Egypt, cats were sacred. Killing one was a capital crime. Maybe by then, lions were so rare that reverence replaced slaughter. In Amenhotep's time, however, conservation didn't matter because prestige did. So again, more lions meant more glory. Later, Assyrian kings staged lion hunts of their own. They carved reliefs showing kings stabbing and shooting dozens. So in a way, Amenhotep may have set the pattern, big game as political theater. Egyptians kept the practice alive too. Rameses III carved himself at Medinet Habu, hunting lions from his chariot. The text says, "Lions fled in terror." It calls him the Lion, Lord of Victory. And so the hunt and the battlefield became one. Later, pharaohs knew the value. A lion hunt was always good propaganda. At the end of the day, whether he truly killed all those lions didn't matter, because the legend did. And legends last longer than facts. The hunts show a ruler at his peak. They show a man using strength, ritual, and propaganda to magnify his reign. They show a culture that praised human dominance over nature as part of divine order. It was early spin doctoring with a side of bravado, and somehow he made his kingdom believe it. Historic hype at its finest.